Hello, my name is Bryce Agbosu and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, I want to demonstrate how to create a church flyer. So if you want to learn how to design flyers for your church, just watch this tutorial. You can also make use of this same process to design a flyer for any workshop or any event that is ongoing. We'll go through the same process of designing. Just open your software and follow through the process. In this tutorial, we're going to make use of Adobe Photoshop. To start, we are going to create a new document. And so we make it inches, we change from inches to pixels. And let's use a 1600 by a 1920 pixels. All others can still stay, and we hit on create. The next thing that you would want to do is to import your image. So if you already have, let's import our image. So with our image pasted on the artboard, let's go through the elements that we need in this design. So the first item that we'll be needing will be the background, and then this white space that we would have to create. The next item will be getting a logo to use, and the various text items that we have in here, and then a picture or a human being that we'll be using. So just go onto the internet and download any background image. So you can make use of a gradient. Just type in HD gradient background image and you will be able to get some wonderful gradient colors to use. And so I already have one downloaded, so what I'll just do is to drop it onto my artboard, and yes. So I will hold the Shift and Alt key, click the endpoint, and then just drag. So after it's been resized, what I have over here is okay. So you can just click on this eye here to toggle. That is to either hide or to show. All right. So let me just hide it. The next thing that I would want to do is to create this background that would divide the shape. We would use the pen tool. So just click and hold and activate your pen tool by clicking on this. So we come, make sure the tool option is always on shape. So let me just click to create the first point. Hold the Shift key, create the next. When we create the next here, now I'll release my hand from the Shift key and then click to create the final point. And so what we have over here is okay for us to work with. So let's see the result. Yeah, so at this point I think this is perfect for us to use. So I would select both elements here and then hit on Ctrl G. I'm using a Windows PC, so just pardon me. Hit on Ctrl G so it groups the elements, and we will label it as background. Sorry. Enter. So let me just hide this, and we are going to look at the next item. So the next item that we will need would be the logo. We will need a logo. So at this point, I'm going to import one of a favicon I created, but I can still make use of it as a logo. So any logo at all that you have, you can import it. Resize it. So if you have your church logo, all you need to do is to import your church logo, and then that should work out. If you also have a company logo, all you need to do is to import that company logo, and that should also work out for you. So now we're going to create a text over here. So I'll activate my pen tool and create. click anywhere and type. So let's take it as this is your church's name. So in this, I'm using Bright Consult. Yeah. So we will format this and change the text to Montserrat, and I'll go for medium. Change the font size to 12 and this to auto. We change the color to white. Control O to zoom out. Now let's verify what we've been able to create so far by creating this toggle. And so yeah, Bright Consult, and see what we have over here is fine. It's perfect. The next thing that we're going to do at this point is to work on the various text elements that we have in here. So the first thing I would want to do is to type, there's this huge text behind, and I think it is also executive. So I'll just type that. Let's activate our text tool and type the text. That is executive. And the font size looks big. So what we'll do is to change this to yeah, and so this can work out for us. So with this typed out, all I need to do is to deactivate this. So we'll come back to it. The next text that we are going to type would be God bless you. So activate your pen tool again and make sure this is reduced to about 6. And we type God bless you. Change it from black to medium or regular. Yeah, and so this. Now what we are going to do is we are going to increase this size, the size of this. So this one is the space between each character. So you want to increase that to about 200, and you need it to be more, so yeah, 600. Now what we are going to do is to transform this. So we want to rotate this. And so clicking on a 90-degree would rotate it, but it's going to be in the reverse. So we'll just go for a -90, and that should work for us. So all I need to do is to drop this down here, and we are good to go. The next thing that we need is join R. So let's create that, and it says join R. Someone will say join awa. Yeah. So yeah, so with this, I would want to make use of this font. There are so many stylish fonts out there that you can use, but I would want to make use of Crimson Foam Free. You can check that font out on the internet and use that also for your design works. It's an interesting font to work with. So yeah, join R, we have that, and it's okay. Another text that we need is executive service. So it says this is an now we change the font to Montserrat, and we make it a medium. Decrease the font size to probably a 24, and executive service. Now we want to also look at the space between the two texts. So the two words, executive and service. So what we're going to use is this option here, and we say an 18. An 18 is too close, so we want to use 22. Let's try 22. Yeah, and this works for us. So let me change from medium to bold and see. Bold. Yeah, so let me drop this here. Let me also change this to 22. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is fine. All right, so let me just disable these two tests that we've created, and we are coming to this and every Sunday. So the first thing that we're going to create would be the background shape that we have over here. But since the design we are creating, the background that we have is from an orange to a yellow gradient. If we drop the same here, our design wouldn't be too appealing. Yeah, so let's change it. So with this, we're going to change it from from the deeper shade of orange to yellow to what the color scheme that we have over here. So we'll pick the color scheme from here. Yeah, so let's try it out. Just click, activate your rectangle tool, and then create it. Change the fill to a gradient. And now what we do is we double click on this to activate your fill, and then we select one of these colors and make it deeper. Yeah, so this is cool. Now the white area, double click on it too, and then select the color scheme here, and this is okay. Now what we want to do is, it is on linear, and we want to change the orientation, that is the flow of the gradient. Now it is flowing from bottom to the top, but we would want it to flow from the corners. So let's see, clicking on any part here would change the orientation. Yeah, and so this would work for us. Yeah. Now this scale also is doing something cool too. Yeah. And what we have over here is perfect. This is perfect to work with. Now the next thing that we want to do is to type this and every Sunday. So activate your pen tool as usual. Then we type this and every. And then we type Sunday. So what we're going to do at this point is to lower, minimize this. Let's use, yeah. And then we bring it here. This and every, we make it probably an 8. And also bring it here. But it looks bigger than Sunday. So what we're going to do is to decrease it to a 6. Now zoom in and align them. So you can select both elements and say, I want it to be aligned in the center. And yes, what we have right here is cool. Yeah, this is perfect. The next thing that we want to do is to create this shape here with 8AMGMT prompt. So still using the rectangle tool, let's create something. Now what you want to do is to click this, and it's going to round in the corners. And I think this is okay to work with. But then if you want to have the bends at the top here, yeah, you can easily do that. But I think the shape that we also have here is cool. One thing that you can do is double click on one element here, and then you can change it. And this is how interesting Photoshop can be. I can also click the plane here, double click on it to activate it, and then when I drag it out, so yeah, we have an interesting shape, but I think I prefer just one corner, not rounded. Now what we'll do is to change the color, change it to something pink. Yeah, so this here is interesting. So now let's create another text. So this text is 8 a.m. Increase the size of this to 12. Let's go for an 18 and see the result. Now drop that here. That looks too big, so we go for a 14. Let's see what 14 will do. Yeah, 14 is okay to work with. The next we need is activate the pen tool again and then create another that says GMT prompt. Now with this, we want to decrease it to probably an 8. 8 looks big, so 6. Now drag and drop this one down here. Yeah, and so what we have created so far is also interesting. So let me select all the items that we've just created, Ctrl G to group all of them, and say this is for date and time. Now the reason why I am organizing some of the elements by grouping them is to, yes, as I mentioned, to help you organize your layers so that you'll be able to easily navigate through them. The item we need is the text here at second block factory. Yeah, so let's type that. It says at second block factory, close to Martin Luther King School, Ashaiman, New York, New Road. Hey, I typed New York and Ashaiman. Okay, so yeah, that's okay. That's perfect. So now we need to work on this. So we change it from the bold to something regular, and then the font size to a 6 should do for us, and then the spacing between the letters we want it to be auto, and that should be okay. Yeah, so just bring this one here, and this is perfect. So we are done. That's all. Now we need this element here again. So what you can do is you can copy all of this. So just hit on Ctrl J and it's going to duplicate everything. Now just click and drag it down here. So since we have it here, all I need to do is to come to my layer palette, right click on it and say on group layers. Delete 8 AM, delete GMT, delete this other shape here too. And so we're going to reorganize this. So let me send this up and bring this down here. And so yeah, let me convert the name. Yeah, so let me go for yeah, Mr. Senano. And the portfolio, who is he? All right, so graphic designer. All right, so what we are going to do is we select both elements here. Let me add that here. We select both elements and then group them and say name, and yeah, name is fine. So let me select both elements here. Now one thing is, maybe your settings, whenever you click on a grouped element, you only are able to move one element. Okay, so there's the hack. Sometimes your auto select might be off, so it doesn't allow you to select an object. Again, if you have this element here at layer, it only allows you to select a layer at a time. But if you want to select a group item, all you need to do is to change this to group, and that should work out for you. So at this point, I just want to drag, I just want to create the final text that we have on this line. For any info or direction, call these numbers. So yeah, let's type that out. Let me change the color to red or anything. Yeah, I just put the color from. So let's type. It says info or direction, call. And we're changing this to, I want to make this 5. So it works for me. Now the next element we're going to create will be the contact numbers. So it says 0274854188 or 0501541251. Now let's change this to 16. 16 looks too big. And 16 here. Make it 40. All right. So this is okay. So let's see the result of whatever we have been able to create so far. So now I'm just activating everything that we have in. And yes, this is what we have. Ain't this beautiful? Yeah, so I think this is too close, so I'll just send this a little up. And to be honest, the more you try your hands on this, you would love what you would create. So just follow through and let's create. Now disable the background. One thing that, so I'm just disabling the elements that we have here. So these are the text elements. So let me add this. Let me group these elements also, and then say direction. So at this point, I want to group all the text, excluding God bless you, and label it as text. So let me activate all the text in here. Yeah. So with every one of them grouped, when I click on it, it disables it. When I click on it, it activates it. Now let me click and activate this background that we have over here. So let's see. Yes. But it looks like we have one missing text. that is direction. Okay, so we have all of them here now. So let me change this text here to something that will be a little visible. So from white to this. And this is okay. So now at this point, you remember that from the main image that we are working with, all the text seems to be slanting. All the text seems to be slanting in a way. Yeah, so what we are at an angle. So what we are going to do at this point is to slant all of our text to respond to that angle, okay? So yes, with all of the text selected, let's go to edit and then say transform. And we are going to use skew at this point, skew. Yeah. So when you do that, just come to boundary, click this point, and then all you have to do is to move this up to a desirable point. And so at this point, we are okay to work with. So just hit on OK. Now let's disable this background and then activate our background. And so you would see that what we have been able to create is okay to work with. It looks like we have an element disabled. So enable all of those elements here, and this should work out for us here. So at this point, I can ungroup every element that I have in text, ungroup it. Ungroup all the layers, yeah. But the elements that you have them as groups within your group, they will still be responsive. So at this point, I would want to drag this element down a little. Also add this, and it looks too tiny, so I would just increase its size to about 8. Yeah. Change this to that, and drag this. Sorry. Change this to group. Yeah, so I can now drag this down a little. Yeah. Drag this down a little. Sorry. Since I've grouped all of them, so I just do layer and then drag this down a little. All right. So I think what we have been able to create so far is perfect. So now let's see the next items to create. So what I'm going to do is to lock these elements. Let me just lock every one of them. Lock. Activate the God bless you, and it's at the side. So the God bless you, I can just bring it here, and it's fine. So lock this also. My logo locked. Background, let me just disable the background so I can work with what we have here. Executive, let me just disable that. So now what we need is this white background with a you are specially invited. So let's see how we can create that. So with this, I need an ellipse tool. Activate your ellipse and then create an ellipse. Yeah, it doesn't matter the color you've created. So I think this is fine. We can work with this. So go to your edit, locate transform, and then say warp. So So we are going to use the warp tool to do that. So just click on any of the points and then just drag this one down. So bringing this down and then clicking on OK, yes. So this is okay to work with. Yeah, so sorry. Yes, so this is okay to work with. Now what I would want to do is to run Ctrl J to duplicate it. So with this element created, all I need to do is to hold my Shift and Alt key, resize these elements. So let's see, let me change the color, double click in this space and we change the color. Yeah. So now select the two ellipses, that is the copy you created and the original, select both of them and go to layer, locate combined shapes and then say subtract from shape. It's the same thing that we were doing in Illustrator, that is using the Pathfinder tool. So let me just drop this one down here a little. And this is perfect. So now the next thing that we need to do is to create the "You are specially invited" text. So with this, one thing that you can do is to create a path and type on that path. So what we'll do is we'll hit the pen tool and then say change it from shape to a path. So click and drag up here and then we come to another point. We click again and yeah. So don't do anything, just go for your direct selection tool. Click and hold and select direct selection tool. So you click and edit, click to edit, click and edit. So use the handle to edit the point. Even though it's not perfect, I think it's still okay for you to work with. So at this point, activate your pen tool. When you select your pen tool, come onto the path and you see your shape. The icon changes when you're on the path, which means you can type on that path. So it says specially invited and hit on OK. So now what we are going to do is to change the color. Select this. Let's deactivate the image that you are using as our copy and see what we so it looks like. So we delete all of these things. Let me just delete everything and type everything fresh. You are specially so now select all of these terms, the text, and change the letter spacing to probably a 0. 0 is so that's too much, so we make it a 75 and then increase the font size to 12. A 10 or 9, 10 should be okay. And so we just need to bring this up here a little. So what we'll do is we'll click on this direct selection tool again, come beneath it, and you see there's an arrow that changes when you come closer to your text. When you are closer to the text, That should, when you click and you drag, it should allow you to move it. And so yeah, this is what we have. Let's check with the ellipse, and this is okay to work with. Let's activate our background, and this is also perfect. At this point, one other item that we need to work with, which is going to be our final item that we are adding to the entire thing we are creating now, is the image. So you remember in one of my episodes, I demonstrated how to cut out your image from any background at all that you have. Yeah, so if you have an image to work with, and this is one of the interesting things that you need to do as a creative, you always need to have interesting images that you can work with, and it is very, very essential. So if your church doesn't have a camera to work with, you can always speak with someone who has a good phone, create a background that is interesting to work with, and let the host of any program, be it a leader, your pastor, or any other person hosting a show, to pose, so you take a wonderful, good picture of them to use. So at this point, I'm going to import one of my images to work with. So just import. If you also have this image in Photoshop already cut out, you can just import it. But since I already have it in Illustrator, I'm just importing it into my design. After importing your image, just hold a Shift and Alt key, resize your image, hit on OK. So resize it to a desirable state and hit on OK. So at this point, what we're going to do is to just change this to select layer, and we select executive. So disable, just unlock it. And so with executive selected, all we're going to do is to send it behind the image from here, and so that's it. Let me change this ellipse, the color of the ellipse here. This is not good for us to work with here, so I think this is perfect. And so voila, this here is based on the concept that we got from here. Yeah, so we saw this element, this flyer, this church flyer, and we created this out of it. And so if it is for a church service, you can equally change all the elements in here and it will work out for you. If you also want to make use of this same design for a business activity, a conference, a workshop, or any other event, you can go through the same process to create the same thing. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Bryce Agbosu. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, kindly do so. Like and share with your friends.